Well, howdy, and welcome to our virtual transfer informational session from Texas A&M Poultry Science. We're excited to have a few of our representatives online today. I know a few of you had other obligations and things going on, so we're hopeful that tonight will be a recording of a Zoom where we can provide information specifically for transfers. Transfers are kind of tricky because everyone is at a different stage, right? Some of our potential transfers are in their first semester at a junior college. Likewise, we have students who have sometimes 100+ hours who are trying to decide where to go in order to complete a 4-year degree. So we have a little bit of a presentation style that we're going to do tonight. We had some pre-submitted questions as part of the registration system that we'll answer. But first, I'm going to start and let our team introduce themselves. My name is Leslie Gleason. I am the undergraduate program manager and a lecturer here in the Poultry Science Department. I did my bachelor's degree in this department, and now I work mostly with recruitment and career development type events and networking with the industry. So, Amanda, I'll let you introduce yourself, and then we'll go Naomi and Caitlin. How about that?
Hi, I'm Amanda Webb. I am a program coordinator with the department. I specifically focus on marketing and communications and transfer student recruitment. So I graduated in 2016. I was a double major, poultry science and animal science, went into the field for a little bit and then came back to the department. So now I'm back home on campus. So I've been recently with the department since May, but it feels like I never really left because a lot of the things still very much feel the same. So excited to talk with y'all and meet y'all, and hopefully see you in Aggie Land shortly.
All right, howdy, my name's Naomi Boyson. I'm a junior poultry animal science double major. I am an Aggie Poultry Ambassador, and I'm really involved in the department, so I'm looking to hopefully answer any questions y'all have for me.
Hi, I'm Caitlin. I'm a senior poultry science major. This is my second year at A&M, and I transferred from Lone Star Community College, and I'm doing the technical route.
All right, awesome. Well, we are glad to have all of you with us today. And Chris, I know you just joined on, but we're going to record this so anybody can watch it for further information if they want to watch it later. Sound good? Okay, perfect. Well, we're going to start with a little video here, and hopefully it all works out because we tested it. And you know, when you test something, it's always going to work. So we're going to watch this little video.
The poultry science department environment at A&M is fantastic. I know as a freshman I was scared to come in to a huge university, not really know anyone, into a department that I wasn't 100% comfortable with the topic, and I fell in love. It's very small, so you get a family-like feel. I immediately was welcomed in by a group of kids who had transferred in or were freshmen as well, and it was awesome. They're still some of my best friends today. That is one thing I will say about the department. Who you graduate with, you'll know them for the rest of your career. So the professors in the poultry science department are really welcoming. They want to see you do good. They encourage you. You know, if you didn't make a grade so like that not as well as you had hoped on a test, they'll sit down with you and go over what you missed and really take that time to make that one-on-one connection. I know personally they've given me really great advice throughout my undergraduate career as well as graduate. When I was needing reference letters or advice on what internship to take, they were there to really push and encourage, which I think is awesome because you don't always get that in large universities. Joining the poultry science department at Texas A&M was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made. If you're interested, check out posc.tamu.edu.
Hey, y'all got to hear a little bit of the commercial following there after. It was exciting. Okay, I'm going to share another screen real quick. Okay, can y'all see that? Okay, fantastic. So again, this presentation, some of you may have heard before. I'm going to do the quick version of it as much as possible tonight, but for those who haven't been exposed to our department, likewise, some parents, if you want to show this to your parents, we want to make sure that all the information about our academic program is pretty clear and straightforward as far as the benefits to doing a transfer application to poultry science at Texas A&M. So why Texas A&M Poultry Science? We are one of 6 remaining poultry science departments left in the United States, which is kind of crazy to think about because poultry is the #1 most consumed protein in the United States. So I just came from dinner, of course, at Chick-fil-A, which most of you probably visit on a weekly basis. And it's crazy to think about that, again, with the #1 most consumed protein, there are still only 6 programs left in the US that feed into that specific industry. We think it's a good and a bad problem, right? It's a good problem because of the job security. So students who come into our program are basically guaranteed to have a job waiting on them after graduation. Bad problem because there is not enough students that we're bringing into our programs to fill all of the jobs that are in need from our industry, which again, I think is a pro and a con, depending on which way that you look at it. More of a pro for students coming in because of that job security. As we look at the 6 programs across the United States, we're the only program that has a Bachelor's of Science in the state of Texas, and we are the largest in regards to student enrollment. Just last week, I was gathering with some of the other departments at a meeting, and we really fill about 1/3 of the industry, of the graduates that are going into the industry. Our program by itself fills about 1/3 of those professionals going into those positions. So our students, our graduates are joining a growing industry. Again, lots of job opportunities out there. And in my mind, more jobs for students leaving with a poultry science degree, which is a good problem to have. So whenever you talk about our program and being the largest in regards to what we specialize in, we also live in the small side of things when you talk about Texas A&M standards. We are right under the 200 mark. We have about 175 poultry science undergraduates for the fall 2023 semester. And so again, we kind of live in the best of both worlds, a large campus, but a small department. Our class sizes are traditionally anywhere from about 40 to 60 students, which makes it one of the best instructor to student ratios in our college. Extremely easy for our students to connect and ask questions, to network, and to gain undergraduate research experience and connections to the industry for full-time jobs. As far as how long it takes a graduate student, a transfer student to graduate from our program, that's going to be all over the board. So sometimes we have students, like a couple of you joining us tonight, that are in your first fall semester at a junior college, and you may be joining us with 30 hours at the end of this year, or you may have some AP credits or dual credit hours that you're going to be bringing in. So it's really hard to put a perfect label on a transfer student, but I will say with the way that our classes are laid out, if you come into Texas A&M core complete, meaning that you have completed all of your basics at a junior college, it's usually still going to take you about 2 years to complete just the poultry science curriculum for what we do here to get your bachelor's in poultry science. Now, again, that's going to differ based on how many hours you're bringing in, what classes you still need. Are you doing summer classes? But anywhere from 2 to 4 years for transfer students is pretty ideal across the board. I've already mentioned the job market, and that part has not changed even since when I was an undergraduate here. When I graduated in 2009, we had 100% job placement in our industry. That has not changed. It's honestly only gotten better. A lot of these poultry companies are in a growth stage. They are adding new facilities. They're adding more positions for graduates with a college degree. So again, the 100% job placement right now is still true. And we get a lot of questions of, okay, you've said that for 20 years. Is that still the case? And yes, that is still the case. There's really not, again, with there only being 6 remaining departments, not enough graduates going out to fill the job market within our poultry industry. On average, our students receive about 2 to 3 job offers in my mind, as I meet with college students, it really depends on the student, right? It depends on what kind of GPA they have and what they've been involved in, but more so, what networking opportunities have they taken advantage of when these companies are coming to visit us on campus, like for the career fair that's coming up Thursday and Friday of this week. We are encouraging and doing our best to develop these students to be well prepared to go into conversations about internships and full-time jobs. As far as the starting salary goes for positions in our industry, right now we're in the 45 to 65 range. And I use that's obviously a $20,000 difference, but I think that on the lower end of that, on the 45, again, you're not going to see any entry level positions in our industry with a college degree that are going to be much lower than that. Of course, there are, depending on where they are and different companies that might be starting. But for the most part, most of these offers that I'm seeing new grads get, they're going to be on the low end of 45 and obviously going up until, some of them to the high end of that. So again, it really depends on the company. It depends what type of position and a lot of times what types of experiences, our students bringing internships into play. Traditionally, students who have completed internships are getting higher offers based on their experiences. And again, depending on further degrees. So a lot of our students after a bachelor's degree would consider doing a master's or a PhD to be more specialized. Again, like the other students joining us here, potentially going to vet school or something of that nature. Then, of course, the salary is going to get bigger and bigger based on what your specialization is and how many degrees that you're bringing to a position. As far as the last bullet there that says time to middle management, I always think it's really important to point this out because our industry is very fast moving. Most of our graduates after 6 months to a year to a couple of years out are really getting new positions. They're being promoted, they're increasing their salaries. A lot of times they're relocating based on what opportunities are out there. But again, our industry is not one that students stay in a position for 20 years unless they want to, which is pretty rare to find. But students are getting promoted, they're increasing their salaries, and again, becoming more successful extremely quickly in their career, which is quite a bit of a change from many industries out there. Like I said, as far as our undergraduate program goes, we're right under that 200 mark. This year, we're sitting right at about 175 students when you add in our majors and our minors. So we're always trying to grow, always trying to recruit great kids to our program. And the most important thing is once we get you here, that we also hang with you throughout those 4 years, do our best to prepare you, and then send you out into the workforce. So we have 2 options within our curriculum. You heard Naomi and Caitlin mention that they are pre-vet track or technical track, those types of curriculums. So we have two tracks that students can choose once they get here. The first is going to be the industry side. About 70% of our students are on this curriculum. Again, majority of our students are looking to either get a career in the poultry industry, the allied industry, or some type of, again, business and or agriculture type company. So most of those students are going to be on our industry curriculum. As you can see, the courses that are included there are going to be poultry science specific. They're going to be the basics that everybody takes. And then they're also going to include some things that are somewhat business / production, agriculture oriented, accounting, marketing, management, things of that nature, ag economics type classes that our students will take. On the flip side, we have our technical option, and this option about 30% of our students are on. Just so happens that our 2 current students who are here tonight are on our technical track, and this is basically our pre-vet track. It includes most of the prerequisites to get students to vet school, med school, dental school, which I always joke is kind of funny because chickens don't have teeth. But this program basically is our science-based curriculum. So in addition to the poultry science curriculum and the basics, students on our technical track are also taking the upper level sciences that are needed to go into those programs. Both of these options have 100% job placement. For those students who along the way meet chemistry 2 or organic chemistry and say, Leslie, this is hard. Why didn't you tell me? I will say, hey, That's a great problem to have. Your backup plan is still 100% job placement if you decide that these professional tracks or these professional programs might not be in your future. So students that look at us as a pre-vet track, there's a lot of benefits to it. And this is one of them. Again, if you don't get into vet school in that first try, or along the way, you get into those upper level sciences and find that they're not for you, your backup plan is still 100% job placement, which is a really good spot to be in. So with that being said, we got a lot of questions ahead of time about what courses do I take at a junior college, or how can I best prepare while I'm at a junior college? These are basically the requirements that we have in place as far as transfer admission. Pretty straightforward in my mind. There's really 2 hoops that must be jumped through in order to get your application to the next phase of admissions. And then obviously some things that help whenever it gets to the point of reading the application. So the 2 things that are non-negotiable are you must have at least a 2.5 GPA or better. Obviously, we love to see a 3.5 to a 4.0 from a transfer student, but a 2.5 is basically where that cutoff is. So what that means is that at the end of the fall semester, if your GPA comes back and you have a 2.49, know that you are going to get a denial from Texas A&M University admissions. At that point, if you don't have the minimum of the 2.5, your application actually will never get to our department for review. The second part to that is you must have at least 24 credit hours. So a lot of students who go into a junior college may be bringing in some kind of credit from AP classes or dual credit, which is fantastic. But if you don't have at least 24 hours, so let's say you're at a junior college right now for your first semester, first college classes ever, you're probably going to end up this semester with 12 to 15 hours. So you would not meet our minimum standards in order to join us in the spring of 2024. With that being said, once you check that box and have at least 24 hours and at least the 2.5 GPA, then your application is actually going to go to the next step through the process. So up until this point, when you do that application, it's going to go to the Office of Admissions for Texas A&M. When you check the 2.5 and you check the 24 hours, at that point, the application actually gets kicked to the department of your choosing. Whenever you do an application, you obviously have a first choice major and a second choice major that you're going to list on your application. We hope that poultry science, POSC, the other day I saw an application for political science, POLS, not the same thing. We are 2 different departments. So be very sure that when you're going in to select those departments that you're being very, paying attention, you're clicking on the right thing, because being off one or the other is actually going to cause you a lot of problems through the admissions process. So again, first choice major, second choice major. We actually are a department that does view second choice major options. Some departments for transfer admissions are first choice only, meaning that if you don't list them as their first choice, they won't review your application. Again, we hope that we're a first choice major for all of you who are doing one, but we do review second choice major applications. So once that happens, those 2 boxes are checked. At that point, it's going to go to a committee within our department to review. At that point, that's where I always say that the last bullet there, which says meeting with a poultry science advisor or a poultry science program coordinator, really does play to your benefit. And I think it's a common myth that you need to go visit colleges, as a junior in high school. But as a transfer student, don't worry about it. You don't need to do those college visits. And in my mind, it's actually the flip, the reverse, or it's really important both times. And for us, again, as we look at transfer applications, our committee sits there, and if we see a student that we know who's participated in activities with us, who has joined in on virtual workshops with us, has helped with summer programs, things of that nature, it makes it really easy to have a conversation about your admissions, because you've done all the work, right? If you meet the minimum standards, we know that you have an interest in our program. It's extremely easy for our committee to go ahead and give that green stamp of approval for admissions. The last thing there that you'll see are a couple of courses that we have listed. And if you want to view our degree program, if you visit our website, Amanda, would you mind putting in the chat box maybe the link to our industry option and our technical option, but basically here's a non-digital version, right? This is what we call a degree plan. If you look really closely, it's got lists of all kinds of classes and little boxes and fun things to check off. And this is where, as a transfer student, if you know that Texas A&M Poultry Science is where you want to be, let's start working together today, yesterday, right? We want to help you pick out your classes. We want to ensure that you're taking the correct equivalencies of the classes that you need to get here. Because to be honest, there's nothing worse than you wasting your money at a junior college taking a class that you don't need. It doesn't work for you, and it's also not good for us either, right? Because when you get here, if you have all the classes that you need, you can jump right in and start on the curriculum that you need. So again, there are 4 classes listed there that Texas A&M Poultry Science uses the terminology prefer, right? So there are departments that require classes, and there are departments that prefer classes. If you are looking at a department that says that you are required to take chemistry and biology and math, if you do an application and you pay the $75 and you do not have those done, you are going to get a denial from Texas A&M University. So I always joke, save the $75 and just write a check to me, because I don't want you to waste your $75 on an application that's not going to get all the green lights to get through. So again, we use the terminology prefer. That means that in our perfect world, a student who is applying for transfer admission has completed these 4 courses. Chemistry 1411, which is the equivalency of Chemistry 119 at Texas A&M. Biology 1406, which is the equivalency of Biology 111 at Texas A&M. And then the 2 math classes. Now, for the math requirements, you have a lot of options that you can take of different maths. These are the 2 that we recommend. So it's Math 1324 and Math 1325. Those are very easily transferable for us. Maths kind of get tricky. We have a lot of kids that take geometry or some entry-level math classes at a junior college, and those don't always work whenever you get to A&M. And coming from somebody who is not a math person, don't take the wrong math, right? There's no reason to put yourself through taking 8 weeks to 16 weeks of a math class that when you get to A&M, they're going to say, hey, sorry, go take another one, right? So again, that's where we want to play in the advising game with you. We have a fantastic academic advisor who advises all of our current students. Her name is Miss Christina Rosati, and she's more than happy to work with students like yourselves who are at a junior college trying to figure out what to take there as well. So I say don't pounce on us at the last minute like, hey, I'm registering tomorrow and I need to know what classes to take. But give us a couple of weeks. If you'll reach out directly to myself or Amanda, we can get you in an email thread with Christina. And again, the best thing to do is to go ahead and utilize those resources. Like I said, we want to help you pick out the right classes. Okay. All right. So with that being said, when are you working on an application? Application cycles are the same every year. They don't change as far as the day of the year, just the year will change. So right now, the window is completely wide open for anybody who's wanting to join us for spring 2024. The application opened on August the 1st, and it's going to close pretty close to a month from now on October the 15th. Again, this would mean that you have at least a 2.5 and at least 24 credit hours at the completion of this semester in order to do that application. Well, I say at the completion of this semester, really at the time of your application, you need to have that done. Again, October 15th, it's going to close. Now, the process for applying is kind of in the maroon box there on the right. But basically, you're going to start out at applytexas.org. It's probably familiar to you because most of you have probably used that website in order to be where you are right now studying. Once you complete that application, you're going to receive a UIN, which stands for on there it says user ID number, which I've always called it the university identification number. So who knows? We'll say it's a code that is special to you. And then at that point, you are going to use a system that we call AIS, which is the Applicant Information System that can be found at applicant.tamu.edu. And basically, that's the site that you're going to use in order to upload any additional documents. So transcripts, resumes, letters of recommendation, things of that nature. And then that's also going to be where you're going to track your admission. So that more than likely is going to be the first place that you see, welcome to Texas A&M. You're a poultry science major. We're pumped for you. Let's go. Woohoo. Exciting stuff. Most of the time you're going to see it there first on AIS before you get anything in the mail or an email or anything of that nature. So the key is admissions.tamu.edu is the site that'll start you. When you get to that site, obviously you are looking for transfer admissions. So there are a lot of different admission styles out there, from incoming freshmen to readmits to international students, lots of varieties. But for you, you really want to land on the transfer admissions site. Okay. Now, on the flip side of that, there's a lot of you who will not be applying for spring 2024 admission. You're going to either finish up your first year at a junior college, potentially 2 years for some of you, depending on what you have going on. If you are looking ahead at joining us in either the summer of 2024, which you can do, or the fall, which starts in August of 2024, that application is currently not open. Those applications open January the 1st and close on March the 1st. So again, if you're one of those people that's going to stay at a junior college for multiple years to get your basics done, these dates don't change every year. It's always August 1st to October 15th for spring admission, and it's always January 1st to March 1st for summer or fall admission. So again, if you're having questions too, I probably should have said this earlier, but if you have any specific questions, feel free to pop them in the chat box, and Amanda can help me kind of monitor those as well. All right, so like I said, as far as the admissions application goes, you're going to use Apply Texas. There are a couple of required things that you're going to do, and then there's a couple of things that are optional. As far as the SAT and ACT score goes, a lot of students have questions about that. Okay, I'm a transfer. Do I still need to upload those? Traditionally, transfer students do not have to upload an SAT or an ACT for admissions purposes. A lot of times uploading those just assist you with qualifying for financial aid or certain scholarships that might require an official test score. So if you have them, fantastic, put them in there, upload them. If you don't have them as a transfer student, not a huge problem. So things that do matter, obviously a transcript. You can see here that it says a high school transcript. At this point, when you become a transfer student, we are more concerned with your transfer transcript, right? So wherever institution that you're currently studying at, that's the one really that we're looking for. Now, a lot of you may have taken classes at multiple junior colleges. So maybe you took something at South Texas College when you were in high school, and now you're studying at Blinn. You'll want to send transcripts from any institution that you have attended. And basically what will happen is they will put together, these math magicians over there in admissions will put together both of those transcripts, and they will come up with your transfer GPA. So again, let's say that you have a 4.0 at Blinn, but at STC you had a 2.5. It's going to average out to make your transfer GPA. Now, with that being said, the optional things that you can upload, Leslie Gleason is always pro-optional. I always tell students, if it says optional, read it as required, because that just shows that you don't mind going the extra mile when, who knows, another applicant may not. So those things we highly recommend. And then obviously one thing that's on here that I kind of skimmed over, which is the first thing, says the essay. And as a transfer student, I will tell you that in addition to your transcripts and how you've done at your junior college, the essay is where Texas A&M Poultry Science spends the majority of our time in review. So we're going to read your essay without a doubt. So a lot of people say, oh, they don't read those, especially as a transfer. Not true. That's where we spend the majority of our time. Things that we look for in an essay. Well, let me start with this. Things that we do not look for in an essay. We do not look for that your parents went to Texas A&M, or your neighbor down the street went to Texas A&M, or you have 15 siblings who all go to Texas A&M. These are things that don't matter to us, right? We want to read about you, the applicant. We want to know what makes you, you, why you want to study poultry science, what type of career goals do you have that we can help lead you to, and then obviously what led you to us. If you were drawn to our pre-vet track because you want to go to vet school, write about that in your essay. If you want to go into the poultry industry because you showed birds growing up, write about that in the essay. If you have interacted with anyone from our department, whether that be myself, Amanda, a current student, a retired faculty, a former student, those are all great things to put in your essay, because to us, it shows that it's not just you clicking, some major out of a list. It shows that you have intentionality in joining us. So again, the essay is very important for us. We obviously want to make sure that it's well written. So after you write it, be sure that someone, an English teacher, a parent, a significant other, whoever is reading through that, because we do spend a lot of time on that essay. Okay. Other things to include in there, it's just as much you being a fit for us as us being a fit for you. So if in the essay you write that you want to be a math teacher, I'm going to sit with the committee and basically say, that's not what we do, right? We don't teach people how to be math teachers. So maybe you would be a better fit in a different department. But let's say you really don't know what you want to do, because at 18 to 23, 24, or even 50 years old, sometimes you may not know what it is that you want to do. It's absolutely okay in your essay to say, I'm not really sure what I want to do after graduation. I know I want to work in agriculture. I know I want to work in education, whatever it may be. Again, be honest, right? That's the key thing that we're looking for, is, are you a good fit for us? And writing what you think that we want to hear is not the key. We want to hear what you actually want to do and make sure that it's the right fit for you. So after you've been admitted, you're going to have a couple of additional documents that you have to upload. And again, those things you'll worry about after that admission comes. And again, the university will notify you for any documents that might be missing. So hang on to questions. I'm almost done. I'm going to breeze kind of quickly through the last part here, but want to answer any one-on-one questions for students that are here. And I know we had some pre-submitted as well, but these past 3 slides for me are really the bread and butter of what we wanted to do tonight. We want to make sure that you know the timeline. We want to make sure that you know how to apply, right? So admissions.tamu.edu. And then we want to make sure that you know kind of the things that we pay attention to, which for us, again, the essay, your transcripts, and making sure that we're kind of the right fit for you. All right, so on the flip side, we also have a fantastic program for scholarships. As far as transfer scholarships go, that's an area that we've had a void in, to be honest. We've been kind of working and brainstorming on a couple of different ideas of ways to get students qualified for these. But traditionally, once a student gets here, that will be the starting point for when they can apply for our scholarships. Again, I'm trying to get some things in place to where you can already have a scholarship in place for your first semester, but those are things that are kind of on the cusp of happening right now, so stay tuned. But otherwise, as soon as you get here in your first semester, we do our application cycle for departmental scholarships. The apps open in October and they close in February. So we give out scholarships every academic year. They range in dollar amount from $1,000 to $5,000 every year, and they total, basically, we give out usually over $100,000. The last few years, we've given out over $130,000 to our current students. So if you get here, you get into it, you make the 2.5 GPA that we require for a minimum, you're going to have some type of financial assistance to help you pay for school, which is a really great problem to have. Also, when you get here, we have a couple of student groups that you can get involved in. We have our Poultry Science Club. We have I apologize for the name here, it used to be called the Aggie Leadership Council. A couple of years ago, we changed it to our Aggie Poultry Ambassadors. Again, Naomi and Caitlin are joining us as part of that group tonight. And then we also have a collegiate poultry judging team. So a lot of prospective students from transfer and or the high school route come to us from a judging program. And we have a great opportunity for you to compete at the collegiate level there as well. Lots of opportunities outside of the classroom. I'm not going to focus too much on this tonight because I know that once we get you here, We will indoctrinate you until you are blue in the face from hearing about all the opportunities that we have. But overall, undergraduate research, specifically if you're thinking pre-vet, these are great opportunities on vet school applications. Internships, so working in our industry over the course of a summer. Then we also have a study abroad program, particular for poultry science students as well, that travels every January. So what jobs can you do with a poultry science degree? Again, this slide is broken down by the industry track. So most students who are going to be on our industry option are going to go into careers that are listed here. One of the main things I like to say about these slides is you can look at this and see a list of jobs, but really with a poultry science degree, you truly can do any career that you're interested in as long as you've done your work, right? So as long as you've connected with the right people, as long as you are teachable, right? As long as you interview well and have a good resume, any career is within your reach with a poultry science degree. And I have a poultry science degree and I don't work in the industry. I work in higher education. So again, most of these are listed here, traditional jobs that a lot of our students go into, obviously within our industry, broken down into the live production side of things, the processing side of things, and then what we like to call the allied industry. The allied industry is going to be anything from sales and marketing to advocacy, public relations, and then a lot of students use our track or this industry option to go into teaching as well. So a lot of students are ag teachers, biology teachers, lots of different subjects and specializations as well you can utilize your degree for. And then on the flip side, we have our technical option. The technical option, again, is our pre-vet track. So majority of our students are utilizing this track to go into vet or medical or nursing. But likewise, a lot of our students that hang with us for a master's or a PhD are really going into some of the things that are there at the top. So either academia to teach at the collegiate level, genetics, nutrition, physiology, etc. So again, these are going to be the more science, animal health focused type careers that a lot of students end up in, right? So they tell me, Leslie, I'm going to be a vet. And I say, yay, that's awesome. And then along the way, their plan changes. And a lot of them, again, just decide to either continue on to a graduate degree or to take that 100% job placement and just head into the industry right away after graduation. So with that being said, I'm going to leave this up for just 1 second, but everyone here pretty much knows how to find us. Our website actually has changed recently. We got a new website. And so the website now is poultry.tamu.edu. So you used to be able to find us at posc.tamu.edu, and it probably still forwards you, but poultry.tamu.edu is where you can find additional information. So with that, I'm going to give my voice a little bit of a break here, and I'm going to turn it over to Amanda. I know she's going to read through some of the pre-submitted questions. And based on kind of what the question is, we may have a student answer it, Amanda may answer it, or I may, and then we'll kind of open up the floor for any additional questions that you may have.
All right. Chris, you asked some great questions in the chat. So if y'all haven't seen that yet, I would suggest kind of go through and read those answers. It might answer a question that you might have. So the pre-submitted questions, I know generally a lot of them were more about just everything that Leslie just talked about, the admission side of things. But a really great question was, I guess, job opportunities. So I guess, Naomi, I know you are a student worker. Would you like to go into a little bit more about what being a student worker looks like?
Yes, ma'am. So we can, like in our department, we have various job opportunities, especially through either extension or research side of it. I work for extension right now as a student stock show intern. So basically, my job looks, what I do day to day is I process order forms. I help with educational events, any kind of events that are geared more towards extension, and then of course I get to do the fun part and go to stock shows and kind of help put those on and get to work with youth. That's pretty cool. And then another kind of really big job opportunity that a lot of students do in our department is wing bandings. Those are a huge part of what we do as poultry science. And basically, those can be anywhere from a few hours long to more like 5 or 6 hours long. And those are typically on Thursdays, and then the turkey bandings are typically on Wednesdays. And they, like I said, the numbers can be anywhere from 1,000 broiler chicks to 8,000 broiler chicks. So it just kind of depends on the show we're banding for. And then, like they said, research. I was an undergrad research assistant for Dr. Archer, and kind of I was working out on the farm, helping with his graduate students, assisting in their trials they were doing. And also, I am involved in the judging team, so there's also student opportunities for you to go and set on contests if you have that background for judging or passion for judging. So there's I believe those are the only ones right now, but like I said, there's tons so you can get involved in. So
The one other one that tends to be a little bit more popular is working in our front office as a receptionist. So just kind of being the first face that people see when they walk into our office, greeting everyone, helping facilitate events. You know, if we all do, we all have our hands dabbled into many different things, and so those student workers that are in our office have a chance to kind of see behind the scenes of what goes into things, so like steak fry and things like that. All right. Any questions about job opportunities?
So actually,
Say.
I think that kind of also links to internships. And I know Caitlin did a great internship this summer. So maybe that's a good time, Caitlin, if you don't mind sharing a little bit about kind of what internship opportunities are students out doing in the summer.
Yes. So I had an internship. I went to Siloam Springs, Arkansas, and interned with Simmons Foods in their poultry R&D department at their home office. So I was in their test kitchen for 8 weeks making products. I got to go to their various processing plants and further processing plants and kind of look more at the food science and food development side of the poultry industry, which was really neat to get to see. There's other students though in our department that have gotten to work for Cargill, Cal-Maine, Pilgrims, a lot of other popular companies, Tyson, and just get their internship opportunities knocked out over the summer, get some real world experience. You really get to learn that there's a lot of on-the-job training, but you still pull a lot from our classes. So it's really neat to get to see how you can kind of balance those two out through your internship and kind of give you a feeling of what it would be like once you graduate and go into the industry.
So I don't know, I'm assuming everyone follows the Facebook page and whatnot. We've been posting little spotlights on those internships. So if you kind of want to learn more about what some of our students have done this past summer and have a better idea of what those jobs look like, I'd suggest kind of go back through and read some of those and see what they had to say. They had some really interesting jobs. I was a little jealous that I didn't get to do some of those as a student because they sounded really fun. So let's see, what's our next question? What classes would what classes would be best to take at the junior college? So I know we kind of talked about the preferred options, and I did put a link to the web page where you can, if you scroll down a little bit, you can see where it takes you to the industry or the technical track. And when you go into those, you'll see that there's a button kind of on the top header of each one of those degree plans where you can download a sample degree track. So you can look at that. And I know Leslie, you'll know the website, but there's that conversion website that kind of helps you know if I'm at this junior college, what their courses are coded at and what those equivalents are to A&M. So if you don't, Leslie, I don't know if you want to link that or.
Yeah, so I put a website there in the bottom, core.tamu.edu, which really helps you know what the base. So whenever we say the basics at Texas A&M or being core complete, it means all of the basic sciences, which are chemistry and biology, and then all of your other core requirements, which are 2 math classes, 2 English or communications classes, 2 history, 2 government, and then a social behavioral science, a language, philosophy and culture, and a creative arts. Again, I cannot advise you enough to don't try to self-navigate all that. If you do, woohoo, awesome. But utilize, again, our academic advisor, Amanda, myself, we can kind of help you do that on a one-on-one basis. Now, again, if you go to core.tamu.edu and you pick out all your own classes and you get here and nail it, then that's awesome. But there's no reason not to utilize kind of the resources here. We're happy to do it. And then as far as like what classes to take, again, really anything core requirements. So all the things that I just mentioned, chemistry and biology are at the top of our list, just because and the math, because if you wait, right, and you don't take those until a 2 years or 3 years out of high school, and you haven't taken a math class in 3 years, those classes are become very difficult for students. So I know they're scary, but try not to put them off. I know, see, Bella, you're looking at your mom. Mom's been telling you that, I know. My mom told me the same thing. And then what did I do? I took a math my first semester at A&M, made a really poor grade in it. And then I was scared. And I was like, I'm not taking the other one until later. And then it didn't go great for me. So, hey, it's all going to work out. It's all going to be good. But really trying to get those science and math classes knocked out. I can't advise enough on that. The other thing is you are playing the GPA game, right? And you also want to take classes that you enjoy. So I meet sometimes transfer kids who literally have this like loaded schedule of like history and math and chemistry, and that's great because you're checking all the boxes. But the odds are is that you may not do as well in them because you're not taking anything that you enjoy. So I always say, find a class, whether it's an ag class or, economics or something. And that's where we can help you one-on-one to figure out what classes do you like? What classes do you do well in? And let's make sure that you don't get to that junior college your first semester or second semester, and then you end up leaving college because you haven't had any success. We don't want that to be the case either. And a lot of time for transfers, that's tricky because you're not taking any poultry classes, or you may not be taking any classes that you enjoy. You're just knocking those basics out. So hang tight with us, but also we can help you navigate non-basics too, right? Because we also have electives built into our curriculum. So as long as there's an equivalency of a course at A&M, it's going to come in and count for us, whether it's in a core area or in an elective area.
But I think really the last couple of questions that were repeated was more information about the pre-vet track, which again, I know we kind of linked though the degree plan, what that looks like. So I don't know if y'all have looked, if you're looking at it while we're doing this, but do y'all have any specific questions about that you would like to know more about? Or is it just you wanted to see what the degree plan looked like so you can kind of get a better idea?
Yeah, and I would say as far as the pre-vet track goes, those are great reasons to come visit us in person, or get on a Zoom or a phone call with one of us so we can kind of talk about the benefits, talk about successful students who have gotten into vet school, what they were doing well. I always like to say the pre-vet track, I know a lot of people care about statistics and what's your success rate for how many students you've gotten in, but to me it's really about the student. And a student that's getting into vet school is really making a 3.75 or higher GPA at A&M. They're doing extremely well in their science courses. And then they have all the other pieces of being a well-rounded student. So shadowing experience, involvement in organizations, work experience. So it's really nowadays come down to like, are you the full package? I think our department offers a great track for students to check all of those boxes. But again, if you're pre-vet and you want to know more information or want to talk specifically pre-vet, just schedule a meeting with us or holler at us, because we'd love to visit one-on-one. Okay, I guess with that, maybe I'll stop the recording, and then Bella, if you want to hang around and we can answer any particular questions for you, we'd be happy to do that. Amanda, do you want to just do maybe a closing before I stop the recording, how to contact us or if they need any final info?
Sure, absolutely. So I believe everyone got an email from me earlier. That is my direct email. So feel free, you can reply back to that. But our website, I put in the chat, it's apoultry.tamu.edu. I do manage the social media accounts, and I'm pretty active on those. So if you see something that gets posted and you have a quick question, you can either just send a DM, or if you want to comment on it, and we can definitely get back with you. We do have a open door policy, so if you happen to be in town, you can walk on in and ask some questions. But if it is maybe something more in depth of like, hey, I really want to know what classes I need to take, or kind of how am I looking for admissions, we highly suggest that you do set up a meeting with us so we can make sure we're around. We can give you that one-on-one attention, so that way we can get all your questions answered and make you feel prepared, and maybe even possibly set up a tour of the farm if that's something of interest to you. So
All right. Well, I'm going to stop the recording.